So now that we completed the edit or the delete functionality, we are ready to move on to the edit functionality. So I'm back into my single member page here, or member page. In here, I want to do a little cleanup. I want to get rid of this line here. If you have not deleted this line, this is from the dummy data that we were using before. So he's going to get rid of that and get rid of the import of the member data that we were using at the beginning. Then I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to find the form here that we have placed for the edits. For the edit button. So when we click on one of the members, this is the button here. I want to switch this from a form to just a link component, because what I want to do, I just want to navigate the user to a new page. So we're going to create a new link. Let's grab the class here and let's add it to the link here instead. We can get rid of the form and the previous button we had there. We can use the link in order to do that. And let's have a href that is going to navigate the user to / we're going to do members / and then member dot underscore ID / edits. And then I need to, let's just have ID here and then / edit here. Cool. Make sure the link component was imported at the top right here, line 5. So now when we click on the edits, we're going to be navigated to a page that is not found at the moment, but we're going to build that page right under, let's say we have our colon ID here. So / member / ID is this route here. So inside of that one, we're going to right click on this folder, new folder, edits. And inside of edits, we're going to right click, new file, page.tsx. And then here we're going to start building our edit page. So we're going to call this one edit member page. So let's do export default async function edit member page. And for this one, we're going to receive the params. So we're going to receive the ID parameter. So let's declare a interface for this. And we're going to, for the props for this page, so edit member page props. And here we're going to receive params. And then params is going to be ID, ID colon, and then we're going to have string of type string. All right, so this is the props. Here we're going to pass it to just props colon edit member page props in here. And then let's see what we're going to do next. So we have created the link, we created the page and added the props to the page. So using the new ID that we're going to receive, let's try to find the user with the ID in here on the database. So we can do const member equals await. And then we're going to need the DB client here. So it's already imported here by VS Code. And then we're going to do .db. Our DB name is next-members. and then we're going to do that collection. The collection is the members collection, and let's bring in the member type so we can tell what this collection is going to be returning. Here we have the import for the types, and then we're gonna do dot find one, and here we're going to use the filter to find the member by the ID underscore ID equals to, we're gonna do new object. We're gonna import that from MongoDB object ID in order to pass in props dot params dot ID, and this should be the member that we're going to be editing. So here we're just finding the user because we're going to get the user here, and then we're going to pass it to a form, which is going to be a client component because we need to put this information into state. So we're going to create a separate component for that. But for now, let's just take a look at the information we got here. So if I go to edit now, now we have the information about the user being logged. If I go back and find another member here and click edit, we got the information about the member here. Cool. So the next step will be to create a client component, which is going to allow us to use the components. So the use state component, we're gonna need to use it. So we're gonna build a client component for that. So let's create a new component inside of the folder components, the components folder. Let's create a new file. Let's call this one member dash edit dash form dot tsx, and then we're going to, let's do export default function, and then we're going to call this one member edit form, and this edit member form, let's declare the interface here for the prop. So member edit form props. This one is going to receive a member for now, and it's going to be of type member. So we're going to import the type member that we have defined in our types folder. So here we're going to say props edit or member edit form props. Cool. So in here we're going to use the use state hook for putting the information about the user that we're going to edit. We need to put it in state because we need to track the changes or the edits the user is going to do. So we need to mark this component at the top as a client component by having the use client directive at the top. So now Next.js is going to know this is going to be a client component. Let's now import the use state hook from React. And if I save this, there's no errors here. Let me see what happens if I comment this out. Nothing yet, but if you later upload this component, we're going to get an error if you don't mark this as use client because we're using a hook inside of this component. So inside of the function here, let's create the state. So const, let's do a square bracket member, and then let's do set member equals use state, and let's pass in the props dot member that we're going to receive from the edit member page when we call the member edit form. And then here we're going to, let's work on creating the form. So for the form, let's do a return. And then here we're going to have a form, which is going to have, let's have a div here. And inside the div, we're going to have a h3 or anything else. If you want to use another div, that's fine. I'm just going to use a h3 and say edit member. And let's see if we can just render this really quick before we go any further. I want to go back to my edit page or edit member page, and I want to render that component. So let's do here, right after the console log, we're going to return the, let's do edit member page. Not edit member page, but let's do edit. Where is the member edit form? That's what I'm looking for. And we need to import this. Is already imported here, but then this is missing the props that we need to pass in. So we're going to pass in member. And we're going to pass in the member that we found from here, this member here. So we have the member. Let's see here. Okay, let's do check. Let's have a quick if statement here to say if there is no member found, we want to return and call the not found function, which needs to be imported from Next navigation, right? Because in case this is not found, because we don't have a, we don't find a member with this ID or the parent.id that we need, that we're going to get, we're going to call the not found and show the not found page. If everything goes good, we're going to return the member here. Let's just wrap this one into a quick div in here. And that should do it. So now let's see if we navigate to edit or click on edit. Now we should be looking at the form here. But the form, let's see what we have. Okay, there we go. Edit member here. That's what we see so far. So that's working. And now let's continue building the form. So for the form, we have the h3 inside of this div. And then let's just do, after the h3, let's just do another div. And inside of this div, we're going to add a label. So it's very similar to the create member form that we did. This one's going to have the name and the HTML4 name. Then we're going to have a input type text with the name set to name, ID set to name, and then we're going to that's it for now. Let's just show that here. And then we're going to need another div with the one for the avatar. So let's just copy this one down with the div and then change this to avatar. And then this is going to be avatar as well. Type text, name avatar. And then this here, name avatar. Cool. Let's see if we need anything else. let's have the button at the bottom. So right after this one closes, inside of this one, let's have a button. This one is going to be of type submit, to submit the form. And here we're going to say update. Cool. So type class, that's fine for now. Let's hide this console so we can see this better. Format the document. And now let's do some CSS, some quick CSS here. So for the form, the div here, we're going to add a class name, and we're going to do flex dash call, a gap of 3, max width dash XL, and then mx dash auto, and we're gonna do bg dash slate dash 300 for the color. And then what else? We need a padding of 5, and then we're gonna do a rounded. Yeah, there we go. Now for the h3 here, last name here, we're just gonna do a font dash bold here. There we go. And then what else we're gonna do? Let's do on this div, let's do a class name, flex gap dash 5. And then we're going to do, what else? Label is fine. For the input, let's do class name. Let's do for this one a border, rounded, padding dash 2, and then with dash 4. And format the document again. Then we're going to do for this div, I think we're going to do the same. So let's just copy this class here, add it to this div. Let's do the same for this one. For the input, let's also add it to this input here at the end. Format it and save it. Now button here, let's just do a class name here, and let's do rounded bg dash grain dash 500, padding dash 2, text dash white, and what else? Font dash bold. Whoops. Did I say that? Yeah, that's fine. And I think that's it. That's everything I have for that. Cool. So what's next? So now we have the information here about the member. So if I right click, inspect, and go to my components tab here, scroll all the way down to the member edit form. We have in the props, we receiving the member for the edit member form, which we're going to use to put into the state. So we had the state, we had the name, we had the avatar, and all the information. So we're gonna let the user update the name and update the avatar, and then click update if they want to update the information there. So let's see, looks like there's a little broken there. So gap, yeah, that's fine. P-2, what is this? Messed up something there. Class P-2 rounded P-2. Okay, looks like maybe the gap is a little bit off. That's fine. 4 or 5. Play around with the values there. So okay, so let's focus on now setting the default value for this input. So we're going to control the forms by adding the default value to the inputs here. So the name input on the input here, we can do it right before the class name. We can put default value and set it to member dot name, and then we can do the same for the avatar. So default value equals to member dot avatar, and now we're loading the form with the user information. So if I go back to members, click on Max, click on edit, I got the name Max and got the URL for the image, and then for Maria as well. Cool. So now we are not able to, well, we're able to change it here to update it, but now we need to keep track of the information. So let's say if I go into inspect here again, if I go to components, scroll down to the member edit form and open the hooks, see the image here, type something else here. So the state is not being updated. We need to update the state here now with the information the user is typing in the input. So we need to do a handle change. So let's go right at the top here, right after the state. We're going to do our handle change, and we're going to say const handle change function here. So let's do a arrow function where we're going to take in the event, so E, and the type of event we're going to be expecting is a change event, and the change event we need to specify the input. So the type the change event from the input element. So we're gonna do HTML anchor tag area no input element. So that's the element and the type of event we're gonna be listening for. We're gonna be expecting. And then, oops, what happened there? Go to the end. So here we're just gonna call set a member, and we're going to update the member. So we're gonna spread what's already there with member, and then we're going to do e.target dot name. We're gonna use the name of the input to match it to the properties on the member state variable, and then here we're gonna do e.target dot value. And now that we have the on change here, the handle change, we're going to pass it to the on change event, and then we're going to call handle change here. And then for the handle change here, we have to call it like this, pass in a arrow function here, and then we're going to take in the event and we're going to pass it here. And then we're going to do the same for the other input. So for the avatar input, we're going to do it right after the default value as well here. All right, so let's do a quick test here. If I go, I want to grab this together. if I go and inspect it again, go back to my components, scroll down to edit member form, open the state hook here, and let's do, let's just go with this one, John now. And now the state is being updated here. If I go here and delete some of this, is being updated as well. Cool. So let's refresh this here so we get the values back. So we know that is changing. And what do we have next? Next, we're going to work with the form action. So now when the user finish editing the information here, the user is going to press on update. So we need to have a form action added to the form here. So let's work on that now. So let's scroll all the way to the top here again. Make sure when you have the change event here that it was imported here at the top. This is just another built-in type that is coming from the React library. And here we're going to create right after the handle change. Let's create, what is this here? Rounded. Okay, now the button is rounded. Okay, cool. So here, let's just do edit member form action. And here we're going to say const edit member action. And this function is the function that is going to be added to the form. So it's going to be an async function, which is going to receive a member of type member. And then we're going to, here we're going to use our DB client again to go and make the updates on the database. So we're going to do a await DB client, and then we're going to do .db, and DB is next-members, then .collection is going to be the members collection. Again, let's do the type here, type of members, and then we're gonna do .find one and update. So that find one and update is going to receive the member ID to find the member that we want to update. So we're gonna do parentheses, and then we're gonna do underscore ID, and we're going to pass in new object ID from MongoDB, and we're going to pass in the member ID. So we can do member dot underscore ID. And right now, if we hover over this, we're going to see we have expected to argument update was not provided. Yes, we're still not done here, so that's fine. So first we need to pass in the user. How do we find the document we want to update? So we find one, and we want to, after this, we're going to pass in the update we want to do. So here we're going to put another pair of curly brackets, hit enter, and we're going to type $set, and then we're going to do colon, curly brackets, and then we're going to detail this the updates we need to do. So we're going to just do name. We want to update the name on this document to whatever member dot name is, right, from the state. So from this variable, we're just tracking what the user is typing here. And then we're going to do avatar. And then we're going to do member.avatar. And I believe that's it here. Now, after we make the update, we're just going to redirect the user back to the member again, to the member page. So down here, after line 30, we're going to do redirect, and we're going to import redirect here for next navigation. We're going to redirect the user to /members/ and then we're going to use the member._id. And at the moment we're getting an error, but we'll fix that in a second. So inside of the member edit member action, we're going to find the member we want to update. We're going to edit the information here with the information we have in the state, and then after that we're going to redirect the user back to the same member that the user just edits. So right now we're getting an error because we're trying to use a server action inside of this client here. So right now you will see this can resolve child process from MongoDB. So what we need to do is that we need to move this server action into a separate file. So we can have, because at the moment this is a client component and we cannot have this in here. So let's do inside of src. We're going to right click, create a new folder, call it actions. And then inside of actions, we're going to create a new index.ts. And this one is just TS because we're not going to write any JSX. We're just going to write some TypeScript code. So we're going to grab this function, not the delete. I want to run file to the edit member form. Actually, here's the action we were working on. So I'm going to grab this whole entire thing here, and I'm going to move it to the index.js inside of actions folder. So let's get this out of here, save it real quick, and then back in index we're going to paste it here. And there's a few things we need to import, so we're just going to grab it from here. We need the DB client, which is not being used from there anymore, so we're just going to cut it and bring it here. We need to import the members type, so we're going to copy this one because this one we're using it here and somewhere else in the app in the folder there. So we're just going to copy and paste it here. The new object ID is not being used, so we can cut it from here, bring it here. And what else? Redirect. Let's just bring the redirect import to the index here. So at the top of the file, we need to have a use client directive, use actually server, to indicate that all of these are server actions. We can do it before we did inside of the function, but because all the functions that we can add in this files are going to be server actions, we can just do it at the top of the file. Let's format this real quick, and then what we're going to do, we're going to export this edit member action, and we're going to import it back inside of the edit member edit form. So we can do it right around here, doesn't matter, import edit member action. And this member edit action is what we're going to pass to the form. So we're going to have it in the form action here. So form, we're going to type action, and the action will be to call this function, and then we're going to do actually that bind parentheses, and then we're going to pass in null. And then here what we need to pass is the member. So now we're passing the member. We're just binding this because it's going to run on the server. So we're passing the member, and to the edit member action, we're going to receive it here. We're going to find it and update it and redirect the user back to the member that was just updated. And let's give it a quick try here. So let's rename this user to, or member to, John, and hit update. Now we can see we have John. We still got the same avatar. And then if we go to members, John is here. Click on John. We can click edit again. For the avatar, if I delete this here and pick maybe another random one, let's see if I just pick the same one or a random one. Now it changed and John has a different image. Let's do that again. Maybe I pick another one here. Let's pick the bottom one, could be the same one we had before. Oh, that's a different one. And then we'll go back to members, and it's being updated. So just to double check, let's just open up Compass, MongoDB Compass here. And we can connect to our database. So we can go to the next members collection. Then we have 1, 2, 3, and John is here. So let's just update this one again really quick, back to maybe Max, or let's just rename this one to Chris, different name. Cool. Now when we hit update, you see we'll come back to the user page, and then if we go to members, we'll still see Chris. Click on Chris, and let's double check our database. So let's click on, where's the refresh button here. So now we got the name Chris. Cool. So that's done. Now we have full CRUD on the application. What I want to do next is that we're going to clean up a bit the server actions that we created in different components to have everything all together in this file. Because now we have this one on a separate file. It would be nice to organize all of them inside of the same file. So we'll do that in the next video.